In a magical forest lives an intelligent, human-like gorilla whose past is shrouded in mystery. On the other hand, the only daughter of the kingdom is Princess Anvesha, who is brave, rebellious, and believes in defying fate. One day, escaping from the palace, the princess enters the mysterious forest. There begins a strange friendship, which gradually turns into forbidden love. Their love is not only unacceptable in the eyes of society, but is also intertwined with a secret curse of nature, magic, and the past, which both of them will have to go through the most difficult path of self-sacrifice to break. A long time ago, the name of the kingdom cannot be found on any current map. It was located in a corner of the fictional world, where time was slow, the sky was dark purple, and flowers spoke to the wind. The name of that kingdom was Rajvilaspur. A princess, Anvesha, was born in this kingdom. On the day of her birth, 3 meteorites fell together in the sky. Suddenly, a silver-feathered bird appeared above the palace with a pink flower in its beak. At that moment, the royal priest predicted, "This daughter's love will be like fire. She will love a creature with human language in its heart and a terrible curse hidden in its soul. This love will shake the kingdom, change destiny." King Rituparna and Queen Kanchanmala were terrified by these words. A rule was issued throughout the kingdom. The princess could never enter the forest. She would never go outside the palace. But Princess Anvesha was not like the others. Since childhood, she had been curious, independent-minded, and a dreamer. The more she was imprisoned, the more she burned with curiosity. On the night of her 18th birthday, the palace was sparkling in the light of the full moon. That night, while everyone was immersed in the festivities, Anvesha rode her horse Taranga and fled from Rajvilaspur. Her destination was Dandakaranya, the mysterious forest where no one has entered and returned. There was a strange tranquility in the forest. The trees were huge, the leaves shed a glow. Suddenly, the wind stopped. The deer ran away. The silence became so deep that even her own breath was afraid. Just then, a huge gorilla emerged from the shade of the tree. But this was no ordinary gorilla. Its eyes seemed to speak. There was a shadow of pain in them. It was clear that it knew a lot, that it had lost a lot. As the princess started to back away in fear, the gorilla said softly, "You have come, finally." Anvesha was startled. Was she imagining it? Did a gorilla really speak? The gorilla said again, this time a little more clearly, "My name, Gagan. I have been waiting for you for these hundreds of years." The moonlight was melting through the leaves on Gagan's body. There was something soft about his huge, rock-hard body, a sadness, a kind of longing. Anvesha stood still, staring straight at him. "You are speaking as a human?" The princess's voice was a mixture of fear and surprise. Gagan bowed his head and said, "I was human, but I am no more. I am a cursed soul, a once prince, now the only cursed protector of this forest." "Were you a prince?" Anvesha slowly approached him. Gagan's eyes were gray, as if they contained countless stories. He sat down on a stone, as if the sadness would ease. "My name was Gagan Dwip," he said. "I was the heir to the throne of the kingdom of Abudaipur, but I loved a forest fairy, and for that love, a terrible curse descended upon me." "What kind of curse?" Anvesha whispered. "I was confined to the body of a gorilla," Gagan's voice was sad, "and that fairy, she is lost in the depths of time. I have waited for centuries, because there was a prophecy. One day, a princess would come, whose heart would be the key to breaking the curse." Suddenly, the words of the old prophecy began to ring in Anvesha's mind. "You will love a creature whose love means accepting a curse." Is this the prophecy? Gagan said again, "If you are not afraid of me, then I can show you the secret path to this forest. My past is hidden here. a tree whose leaves have history written on them, the tree of consciousness. Anbesha said in a soft, trembling voice, "Come, I am ready." She followed Gagan. The forest grew deeper and deeper. Eventually, they reached the top of a high mountain where stood a wonderful tree, whose leaves were transparent, as if made of glass, and between each leaf a scene was emerging, old memories, stories of the past. When Anbesha moved forward and touched a leaf, suddenly the surroundings became dark. A woman's voice began to echo in the air. "He who loves sets free, but all liberation does not come without sacrifice." As soon as Anbesha closed her eyes, she realized she had entered the tree, and now she could see the scene of Gagandwip's past life. Drowning in the deep clarity of the leaves, Princess Anbesha seemed to enter another world, the world of memories. Gagandwip's voice floated in the air, but now it was young and alive. He was a perfect prince, serious, well-educated, but with a shadow of questions and love in his heart. The kingdom of Abudayapur was a powerful empire, surrounded by golden walls, magical armies, and a cruel custom, no connection with the forest. But Gagan was different. He had read about the forest goddesses in ancient books, who were the protectors of nature, beings outside of time. And one day, entering the forest through a back staircase of Rajpuri, he saw Nalini for the first time. Nalini, a forest fairy. Wrapped in a transparent dress, she had jasmine flowers in her hair and a river of sadness in her eyes. When Gagan first looked at her, it was as if time stopped. They met repeatedly, secretly. Their relationship began to develop through words, songs, and touches. One night, Gagan said, "I want to marry you. I will make you the queen of Abudayapur." Nalini was scared. She said, "You can't, Gagan. We are from two different worlds. I am the child of magic. You are the heir to the rule." But Gagan did not give up. She informed her father, King Anantavarma, of her decision. The king's anger was like a volcano. He said, "Will you marry the witch of the forest? Will the touch of the forest mix with our blood? Then a curse will descend on this kingdom." Gagan retorted, "It is not your kingdom, but your heart that should grow." That night, the king, with the help of a secret tantric, cast a curse spell. Gagan was sleeping in his palace room. At midnight, his body began to twist. The sound was like the sound of bones breaking. His skin began to change. His size became huge. Gagan, standing in front of the mirror, saw that he was no longer human. He was now a gorilla. Nalini rushed to him. Crying, she said, "You lost everything for me. But remember, if love is true, the curse will also end." Then Nalini had predicted in a single voice, "Your salvation will be in the heart of a princess. If she is not afraid, if she loves, if she is willing to sacrifice herself, then you will become human again. But she will also have to give something very precious." After that, Nalini disappeared into the forest, and Gagan, alone, waited for a century for that princess to search. Anbesha's eyes opened. She returned to the present world, under the tree next to Gagan. Her heart trembled, but not with fear, but with sadness. "You were alone for so many years?" Her question came in a heavy voice. Gagan shook his head. "I knew you would come. That's why I waited." Anbesha's eyes filled with tears. Looking at Gagan, she said, "If you could become human again one day, Gagan, I would still love you, because your soul is human, and my heart knows that." The forest fell silent, but a strange sound came from afar, a roar mixed with a gust of wind, as if someone was watching them. Time was running out. The leaves of the Chetna tree are silent again. Gagan and Anbesha are silent, but the wind suddenly becomes heavy. A loud roar rises from a corner of the forest. The birds fly away. Gagan stands up, his eyes becoming blurry. "They have woken up," Gagan whispered. "Who?" Anvesha asks. "The guardians of the curse, those who guard my cursed form and prevent my release. They know you have come." Gagan's voice is less panic, more responsibility. "To defeat them, we must go to the Crimson Peak. That is where the last evidence is, where Nalini left my soul safe. But if you go, it will be difficult to overcome the danger." Anvesha straightened her shoulders and said, "I have come to know the truth. You are not alone, Gagan." Gagan was a little surprised. No one had stood by her side for so many years. They started walking, from the forest to the valley, from the valley to the mountains, and up the mountains, they reached a bloody cave. Strange signs were carved on the mountain, like mantras, woven like melodies. As Anvesha touched those writings, the door of the cave opened with a roar. They entered. In the middle of the dark cave, there was a pond, not water, filled with a bloody liquid. Around floated Nalini's picture, Gagan's old memories, and some shadow-like creatures that moved. They were curse keepers. These shadows took the shape of humans, but they did not have faces. They came towards Anvesha, growling. Gagan gritted his teeth and started fighting. He rushed towards the shadows, but each shadow seemed to be born of his own guilt. Then, suddenly, Anvesha stood next to Gagan. "You have suffered the consequences of your mistakes, Gagan. Now is the time to forgive yourself." A golden light spread from the light of his heart, which moved towards the shadows. The shadows trembled and melted one by one. Suddenly, a stone pillar rose in the middle of the cave, in which was a red stone, the form of Nalini's soul. Trapped within it was Gagan's human form. Gagan slowly moved towards the stone, but a terrifying-looking shadow jumped towards Anvesha at the last moment. Just then, Gagan called out, "No!" Gagan threw herself forward. The shadow pierced her chest. Gagan fell to the ground. Anvesha shivered and hugged his neck. "No, you lost everything for me again." Tears in Gagan's eyes, he smiles. "You came. That's enough." Just then, the red stone sparkles. A white light spreads from Gagan's chest. When the light fades, Anvesha opens her eyes and sees a young man in front of her, a bloody body, but in human form. Gagandweep. The curse is broken. But she is numb. Gagan's bloody body lies across Anvesha's lap, but this time he is human. There are lines of wounds on his shoulders and chest, peace on his face, and a vague smile on her lips. Anvesha is crying. "You promised me we will walk together, Gagan." She kisses Gagan on the forehead. A longing voice seemed to come out of that kiss. "You came, so my soul is free." Gagan's eyes closed. At that moment, the sky seemed to burst. Light burned inside the cave, and a female figure appeared. She was Nalini. Hair like fire, tears in her eyes, and a touch of magic on her lips. Nalini said, "When love is selfless, even death defeats. Don't hold on to the one you truly love. Set him free. Now is the time for your true sacrifice." "What do I have to do?" Anvesha asked. Nalini said, "If you want Gagan to come back, you have to give up the most precious thing in yourself, your kingdom, your memories, even Gagan's love. You can bring him back by sacrificing everything, but then he won't recognize you." Anvesha was stunned. Nalini asks, "Can you make this sacrifice? Will you give up your love and bring her back to life?" Anvesha opens her eyes and looks at Gagan's face. Then she stands up, straightens her chest, and says, "Let her live. That's enough. I will give my all." Nalini slowly raises her hand. A golden light rises from Anvesha's chest and enters Gagan's chest. Her eyes open. She breathes, the breath of life. Gagan survives. But just then, Anvesha's face is surprised. Tears well up in her eyes. Gagan looks at her with unfamiliar eyes. "Who are you?" her question. Anvesha smiles a little. "I, a shadow of your old story." Gagan stands up, looks around in surprise. Nalini comes and says, "Your curse is broken, Gagan, but he is no more. The one who loved you brought you back with his love." Gagan's eyes are searching for something, unknown suffering. Anvesha slowly walks out of the cave, alone, silent. She is no longer a princess. She is just a memory of love. A couple has come to a secluded forest on their honeymoon. An old man, a local guide, says, "This cave is called Palobasar Dahan. It is said that a princess gave up everything to save her lover. Some say that sometimes a girl comes here, puts her hand on the stone, and says, 'How are you?'" The couple laughs, goes inside the cave, and a female figure stands in the distance. She is wearing a white sari, with sadness in her eyes. She only says, "Love never dies, it only changes form." Then she slowly disappears among the leaves, in the wind.